So you're probably an active duty service member, maybe you're a Marine, or maybe you're a sailor, or maybe you're just a family member and you're getting relocated to Camp Pendleton, California, and you wanna know what Camp Pendleton, California got's going on. Well, in this video, I'm gonna be going over the pros and the cons of living in and around the area of Camp Pendleton, California. As a veteran myself, I was a Marine, was stationed in Camp Pendleton. I think I have a little bit of insight of what Camp Pendleton has to offer. So let's get after it right now. So if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything that there is about living, eating, breathing, playing around the Camp Pendleton, California area, then subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market here around the Camp Pendleton area. Now, my name is Jonathan. We get calls, texts, emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move, right? So whether you got orders for 9 days, 90 days, or 900 days, you could always give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We would love to help you make that smooth move to the Camp Pendleton, California area. Now, I keep saying area, right? So I will be discussing mainly the Camp Pendleton, California area as a whole and what it has to offer. So yeah, I might bring up some cities like Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, Escondido, Carlsbad, or maybe for those of you that are grunts, right? And you're stationed on the north side of Camp Pendleton, and maybe you wanna relocate off base somewhere. Well, more than likely, you're probably gonna be somewhere stuck in San Juan Capistrano, San Clemente, Dana Point, or somewhere in the Orange County area, right? So that's something that I will be covering with you and the things to do in and around the area. Again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, I'm not really gonna discuss too much topics about internal Camp Pendleton. While there is things to do for you and the public, such as, you can go paintballing, or you can go bowling. I believe it's leather neck lanes, if I remember correctly back in the days, right? There's things that you can do while on Camp Pendleton, California as recreational activities, and that's a really fun, cool thing. Now, in the surrounding areas of Camp Pendleton, you got an exponential variety of things to do, like so many things to do. That's one of the main reasons I loved Camp Pendleton, because you have endless things to do. Whether you're an indoor person or you're an outdoor person, there's so many options. And so that's like one of the big major things about Camp Pendleton. Its location is just amazing because of where you're located here in the San Diego region, or Southern California region, I'd rather say that. So that's one of the cool things. Now, Pendleton itself is its own small little town, basically, right? There's quite a bit of Marine sailors and family members living abroad Camp Pendleton, California, which is really, really cool. So that's one of the neat features about it. Now, without getting too much into it and without spilling all the beans up front, I definitely want to save everything for those pros and those cons, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what you really want to know. Whether you've been in the service for 2 years or 20 years and you're just first getting started and you're moving to the Camp Pendleton area, you definitely want to know what to expect, and that's why we're going to cover this video. So let's go on to our desserts with pro number 1. Now, pro number 1, I'm gonna use military verbiage here, strategic location. No, it really has a great location where it's, geographically located, because you're here in the North County of San Diego, which kind of, it's a really cool thing because, I mean, you're right dab in the middle of Orange County, Riverside being a little bit inland, and then San Diego being south of you. So you have a lot of options. If you're not looking to live on base in military housing, well, there's other options off base that you can enjoy depending on your type of lifestyle as well, and of course your budget, because we all know when you're active duty, we're on a salary. So yes, that definitely comes into play. Now, if you wanted to go to Orange County, on the north side of Pendleton, that's definitely an option, and that's a really cool thing. I personally lived in Orange County and Dana Point, California for some time. I loved it. I was right off Pacific Coast Highway. I could literally walk to Pacific Coast Highway and go to the beach every single day. The views were absolutely amazing. And then I've also lived in San Diego County on the south, right, in Oceanside, California, where there's so much to do. Now, back when I lived there, I'm sounding like I'm very old, right? Now, back in the days, Oceanside is not what it is today. It's definitely grown drastically. It really has, and that's a really good thing because there's a lot more to do now than there was back then. And then let's not forget, you know, hey, Camp Pendleton, we have amazing beaches. Whether you're on base going to the beach or whether you're off base, we have some amazing beaches, and you can go to Oceanside or you can go to Orange County, right? You can go further down in San Diego and other places to go surfing or to go swimming, because that's one of the things that, you know, everybody loves to do is learn to surf, right? Aside from Hawaii, I think California is probably the next best spot to learn how to surf. So that's one big neat feature, is that its strategic location is just excellent. So that's why we're naming that as pro number 1. Moving on to pro number 2. Now, pro number 2 of living in Camp Pendleton, California, and that is going to be its indoor and outdoor activities. Bingo, right? Just like I mentioned a little bit earlier, the indoor and outdoor activities surrounding the Camp Pendleton area is insane. There is so much to do, right? Again, you can go surfing, right? You can go hiking. There's so many different trails. You can go hiking within Camp Pendleton itself, or you can go out into what we like to call the civilian world, right? And you can go out there hiking into the trails that maybe Oceanside or San Marcos, or the famous potato chip rock trail that everybody loves to hike in San Diego, or you can go up to Orange County, or you can go a little bit more inland. So many hiking, biking, running trails for you outdoor lovers, right? And also a lot of camping, right? So you can go to Joshua Tree to go camping. You don't even have to go that far. That's pretty far, right? But there's also local areas where you can go camping and have a great time. Now, indoor activities, so much unlimited potential. Whether it's bowling, right? Whether it's, let's say you want to go to arcade games. I know in Vista, California, they have boomers, and you can do like laser tag and stuff like that. Or maybe you want to go mini golfing. Maybe you want to do escape rooms or axe throwing. My mind is just scrambling because there's so many different things. You got Dave and Buster's, you got different arcade games, right? There's just a variety of things to do indoors, or the movie theaters, or go to museums, right? I can go on and on and on. It's just the unlimited potential of all the indoor and outdoor activities surrounding the Camp Pendleton area within an hour drive. Right, within an hour drive. I do want to disclose that within an hour drive, which here in California, an hour drive, I mean, you'll be in a lot of places. So that's a really cool, neat feature, is that, hey, the indoor and outdoor activities are limitless. And so that's one of the big major things here, is like you can just do things for days while you're living here abroad, the Southern California region. So that's a really, really, really neat thing. And that is going to cover pro number 2. It is going to be the indoor and outdoor activities. Moving on to pro number 3. Pro number 3 is kind of going to go a little bit hand in hand with the indoor and outdoor activities, but it's a little bit bigger. So this is going to be, it's the amusement parks. So there's so many different amusement parks and zoos and et cetera, within the surrounding area of Camp Pendleton. For example, the San Diego Zoo, right? Or SeaWorld, which is free for active duty service members and up to a certain amount of family. Also, you do have Legoland. You have Knott's Berry Farm up the road from Camp Pendleton, California. You also have, hello, Disneyland, where everybody loves, enjoy the wonder of the world, whatever, right? Disneyland is also an option. Or if you want to go further, you can definitely go up to Six Flags, right? So Six Flags Magic Mountain. There's just so many different options with amusement parks. It's not even funny. It's just you're surrounded by nothing but some amusement parks here in the Southern California region. So that's another really big plus, is that if you are getting restationed to Pendleton, California, Camp Pendleton, California, and you do have kids and you do want to entertain them, this is a great location because there's so many things to do. You also got the Great Wolf Lodge, right? It's a big indoor swimming area and like water park, right, that you can enjoy during the hot summer months, because yes, it will get hot in Camp Pendleton and the surrounding areas. So something to consider. So that's why we're naming that as pro number 3. Moving on to pro number 4. Pro number 4 is that, hey, surrounding the Camp Pendleton area, you know that it has a strong military community, right? So if you're living in that south side or south area of Camp Pendleton, you're living in San Diego, it has a very strong military community presence. So that's also something greatly to consider, is that, hey, you know, you do have that strong community sense of military, just because that Southern California region, especially south here in San Diego, is you do have a couple of military bases. You know, down a little bit further towards downtown, you have the Navy bases, 32nd Street, Coronado, right? And then a little bit up north, North County, San Diego, you have big old Camp Pendleton. You also have Miramar, so it's just so much military presence. So it has a very strong community. So if you're one of those that you feel like you're gonna be an outcast or you're gonna be outcasted, don't worry about that, because you definitely won't be. There is a strong military presence, which is really great, and I love it. I mean, hey, thank you for all you veterans out there supporting our community, and everyone that does support our active duty military members. So that is gonna cover all the pros of living in and around the Camp Pendleton area, right? Now, you definitely wanna know some of the ugly that comes with relocating to the Pendleton area as well, and that's why we're gonna jump into our veggies right now, starting off with con number 1. Con number 1 of living around the Camp Pendleton area, and this is kind of no-brainer. I hope you expected this, and this is traffic congestion. Now, if you're moving down here to the Southern California region in general, California in general, to be honest with you, you're gonna run into some traffic. So that's definitely something to highly consider, especially if you're not going to be living on base and you're gonna be living off base, right? Is you wanna consider, hey, I know that there's gonna be traffic in the mornings, in the afternoons, right? Rush hour. This is California. We're highly congested, we're highly populated, so you know that traffic is going to be a thing. So you always want to plan ahead. You never want to be late for your morning huddles or whatever you guys got going on nowadays, right? You don't ever want to be late. So accountability at all times. So that's something to always consider, is that yes, there is a lot of traffic here in the Southern California region. Wherever you move, if you're in Orange County, right, or you're in San Diego County and Oceanside probably, or Vista, or that's a lot of the populace of where Camp Pendleton resides, is that general area, or a little bit more inland towards Riverside County, where it's Temecula, California, Marietta, or Menifee, or Winchester, right? Yes, there is traffic. So again, plan ahead, because that is going to happen, and that's why we're naming that as con number 1. Moving on to con number 2. Con number 2 of living around the Camp Pendleton area, and that is going to be the cost of living. Yes, the cost of living in Camp Pendleton and in and around the Camp Pendleton area, it is fairly high compared to other areas such as the East Coast, for example, or maybe the Midwest, where things can be a little bit more affordable. You definitely have to know that the cost of living out here is a little bit higher. So yes, $5 per gallon on gas, it is a thing here. So you need to be aware of that, right? So if you are moving out here and you do have that big old lifted truck or whatnot with 33-inch tires, you gotta be a little bit more conservative. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, because you know the gas will definitely eat you up. I'm feeling it. I have a lifted 4Runner. I love my lifted 4Runner, and I know when I'm driving that baby around, I am sucking down my wallet, because the gas is not the best here when it comes to affordability. So yes, cost of living overall. So I'm talking goods and services, right? Could talk about transportation. So if you're taking a bus, airfare, maybe train, or whatever the case may be, it can be a little bit higher on the cost of living side. So that's one thing to consider. Now, yeah, caveat, definitely get a higher BAH here than most places, because it is Southern California, but also again, just something to consider. Cost of living can be a tad bit higher here in the Southern California region. Now that is going to cover con number 2. On to con number 3. Con number 3, and the final con of living around the Camp Pendleton area, but not limited to, 3 cons, right? There's definitely more pros and more cons with living in and around the Camp Pendleton area. These are the top major things that a lot of people bring up when they relocate here. And that is going to be its climate. Well, I'm gonna let you, and I'm gonna be very straightforward. If you're not used to earthquakes, you need to get used to them really, really fast. Because we're in California and we are like prone to earthquakes. They just happen pretty much on a daily basis. Whether they're big or they're small, majority of the times they're very small earthquakes. You're not even gonna feel them, but they do happen. And occasionally you will get a higher magnitude type of earthquake. So again, something to consider. Don't freak out, it's kind of normal. Just try to be safe at all times. That's what I would recommend, right? Now, along with the climate, not just the earthquake, but you got to know that there's some areas here within Southern California, not the beach cities, right? So if you're looking to move closer to the beaches, which everyone usually is, unless you want to get a little bit more bang for your buck, you tend to move a little bit more inland of California, like such as Riverside County, where it's Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, or places of that nature, which are very beautiful areas, can be a little bit hotter, right? So if you're living in the beaches, you're gonna be perfectly fine. The weather, beautiful sunny San Diego. They don't call sunny San Diego for a reason, right? Sunny San Diego is amazing. If you look at the weather index actually in sunny San Diego, such as like Carlsbad, California, it has like a 9.6 out of 10. Basically, the weather is amazing all year long. Now, there's other areas, if you move towards the Inland Empire, which consists of Riverside County, the climate can get pretty hot. We like to say, right? I guess I don't know, people that are expertise in the weathers, they say that we have more of a Mediterranean style type of climate, which means it doesn't get too cold, but doesn't get too hot. Now, when I say too hot, I mean like Las Vegas hot. It definitely can get hot here some of the times. It's just something to consider, right? Now, we're not, full of humidity, so that's also something to consider. We don't really have that humidity, but we do have that dry climate type of air here. So hey, it's just a consideration for you, is that hey, can get hot at times, especially if you're on the Camp Pendleton area, right? And further you are from the coast, you're definitely gonna feel it a little bit more. So yes, I definitely want to bring up climate, and that is going to cover con number 3 and all the cons of living around the Camp Pendleton area. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little market recap of everything we just talked about. That way you kind of get a great understanding, and so hopefully you got some clarity of whether or not this is gonna be a great experience for you and your family. So moving on to the market recap. So market recap time. Now, I want you to know and want you to be aware that Camp Pendleton and its surrounding areas is an amazing place. And I'm not just saying that because I still reside in and around that area. I'm saying that because it truly, really is. And the things to do are just insane. And there's so many potential opportunities to do so many things while you're here. Again, it's endless activities. So that's a really cool and neat thing. And the weather's just amazing, right? So that's another big major thing, is that, hey, there's so many things to do, right? As long as you can get over that there is gonna be traffic, which eventually you will get used to. Everyone does. We don't like it, but we got used to it. And we know that there's gonna be traffic, and we all kind of figured out traffic times where when to avoid certain times and days. If you're not working, right, and you don't have to be somewhere, right, like, hey, Fridays, the evenings on Fridays and afternoons, all over Southern California are the worst times. They just suck. So while you're normal Monday through Thursday, you're gonna be sitting in that car, let's say for an extra 20 minutes, Friday bumps you up another 20 minutes. So now you're sitting in that car for an additional 40 minutes because everyone and their mother is trying to get homes and enjoy the weekend. And so Fridays are probably the worst for traffic here. And I'm sure anyone watching this video living locally can attest to that as well. Fridays are the absolute worst, right? But everything, again, that comes along with it, where you can go to these awesome amusement parks, or you can go see all these scenic places. Like maybe you could want to go to LA, you want to enjoy Hollywood, go to Hollywood Boulevard, or see the Getty Museum, right? Or you wanted to go to Disneyland, or the Great Wolf Lodge, or Knott's Berry Farm, which is really cool. and definitely get an annual pass there because it's really, really affordable. Just saying, not sponsored or anything like that, but I have one. At any rate, Legos, you got SeaWorld, and my personal favorite, I love the San Diego Zoo, and they also have a safari park. So the San Diego Zoo and safari park, two different things. One is tucked in Escondido, and the other one is somewhere in kind of more towards downtown. But the zoo in San Diego is probably, I want to say, one of the best zoos I've ever been to here in the United States. So again, something to consider. It's just endless opportunity with hiking, biking, and just different types of trails. So again, if you're an outdoor lover, unlimited potentials, and there's so many national parks around us as well. Or maybe you don't like to do that and you just love to be by the beach, kind of vibe right with the guys or the dudes or the gals or whatever you may do, right? You can go surfing, learn how to surf, or you can go deep sea fishing, which is really fun. Done that in Oceanside as well. Is you have, again, unlimited potentials to do so many things. Now, I hope this video was useful, whether or not you're gonna really have a great experience here in the Camp Pendleton area, which I have no doubt that you probably will. But if you have any questions, comments, you definitely wanna just get that, put it in the comment section, and I look forward to speaking with you. Thank you for watching Living in South California.